Alright everybody, we are back. I got the new Pickguard. I got the bridge here. We're going to go ahead and put the pickups back in them. I bought a set of guitar pickups from Guitar Fetish. They're at guitarfetish.com. These are the GFS pickups that they make. I've never tried them out. I've heard them. I've heard good things about them, so I'm going to try them out. This is the mini fat neck. It's a little bit overwound. It's supposed to be a little bit of a hotter pickup. But it is in a mini humbucker size, and this pickguard is actually made to fit this specific pickup, so we're going to try that out and see how that goes. And then this is the vintage Alnico 62. It's supposed to be wired very, very hot, like around 9.6K. It's overwound. It has a brass plate on the bottom. It also has the cloth wires to it. Not really sure how it's going to sound, but kind of interested to see what's going to happen there. We'll start with the humbucker. We'll put it inside the pickguard. These 4 screws that are in the corner of these, we won't actually put those in until after we put the guitar, or put the pickguard back on the guitar. But we'll be able to mount the pickup in there so that we can do it. And then also, humbuckers, they have more than just 2 wires. You have these 2 wires here, the red and the white. They actually, a humbucker has 2 coils in it, and this is actually joining those 2 coils together. So that's how you get the humbucker sound with those 2. And then basically you have 2 leads. One of these will be ground, that'll go to the ground, and the other one you'll connect into the switch. It really doesn't matter a whole lot when you do that, which one you wire into the switch. You wire one. If it doesn't sound good, if it's kind of thin, you just go in and swap them around. And then this is the shielded ground that you'll solder in, that the whole pickup assembly uses for a ground. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take those screws out, remove the pickup from the pickup ring. And the pickup ring will sit down into the 2 holes on the pickguard, like that. And then you can kind of hold them in place with your fingers, or you can flip it over, however you want to do it. Really makes no difference. But the screws on the pickup go on the neck side. So I'm going to drop the springs back over. Actually, because of that ring, I'm going to have to do this way. And you just got to basically get that screw back down into that mount. Now, before I move on and install the pickup in the other one, there's a couple of things I like to do. Like I said, we're going to braid these 2 together. They're already braided and soldered together. The last thing that I like to do is I like to take a small piece of shrink tubing and just cover over those, just so that they don't touch any other connection, because there's a lot of wires that are crimped up in there in a lot of different places, and you could short stuff out together. Once you just basically just put just a little bit of heat shrink on them, and then trim it off. That way they won't short out to anything else. So that's done. And then also the other thing is I like to do the same thing to my ground wires. These right here. And a lot of times I'll have them, when they're all bunched up in that control plate cavity, they'll get, they'll short out to something else. Okay, so I got all that done now. I just need to put the pickup inside the bridge. Bridge pickups for Telecasters have 3 screws and 3 springs. They'll go on just like that. Okay, now that I got them in, I usually crank them up just to start out with, so that the pickup's up high, just so it's not in the way when I'm reassembling it and reattaching it back to the guitar. Now these are the leads for the bridge pickup. I'm going to fish them through this hole and get them in there into the pickup, the control cavity. And if I flip it up, you should start seeing them coming out, and there they are. We'll fish those up through, take up all the slack. Alright, and all those are on. next thing we're going to do is we're going to put the pick guard back on with our new pickup. What I've done is I've taken all of the ground connections and twisted them all together because these will all be soldered onto the back of one of these volume pots. And then what I like to do is I like to take a little bit of electric tape, go back behind them, and tape them together so they just stay together better whenever you're soldering them onto the back of the pot, because a lot of times they'll tend to fly off. But what we're going to do is we're going to pre-tin. We're going to what's called tinning. We're going to tin all these leads with a little bit of solder, and we are going to actually tin the back of the volume pot as well. And so I'm going to put a little bit of flux on there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my soldering iron with just a little bit of solder and just kind of get that solder to kind of flow through there and work those wires together. So now what we'll do is we'll take our needle nose so we can hold that wire. We'll go ahead and put a little more flux on both sides just so things will flow good. And then I'm going to take my wires and hold them with the small needle nose. I'm going to lay them against that connection where I want them to go. And I'm just going to hold the soldering iron on there until it all melts and flows together. If you remember earlier, I showed you this resistor. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and build these little jumpers, and I'm just going to cut off a little piece of this resistor wire. I'll take my needle nose and I'm going to bend it in kind of a U shape so that it looks kind of like a little tiny staple is actually what it looks like. And then those two connections that I had, I will just drop them down in there so that it will make that connection across those. The bridge pickup, this is the red wire from the bridge pickup, and this wire will connect up here on the body side. Alright, so I got that on. Now first thing we're going to do is we're going to put on the bridge pickup. And the way I'm going to do this is I have my little resistor pin that I want to use to bridge those two terminals. I'm going to stick the pickup connector down through there, and then I'm going to put the jumper down through it. And the jumper will act like a little bit of a spring holding that connection in. Alright, so that is the bridge. And then here is the neck humbucker that we will, it's a lot smaller wire so it doesn't take as much work getting it in there, but because it's a smaller wire sometimes it can be a little flimsy. Alright, and there are two very nice clean joints. Alright, so that's pretty much it for the soldering. Like I said, I did not screw down the pick guard. I took the screws out, the ones that just try to get it lined up, because what I want to do is I want to try to fish some of the wires back through so we don't have as much wire in this control cavity. So in order to do that, I need to be able to get back up in here into the pickup, where the pickups are. And that's how you put in a whole new set of pickups and pick guard and a Tele style pickup. This is Cliff Merrill from ToneSlinger.com, and that's how you do it.